You're listening to Crazy Shit in Real Estate. You'll be amazed at all these wild but true situations that others have found themselves in. Because on this show, you'll hear uncensored, unbelievable stories from the world of real estate. I'm Leigh Brown. Let's dive right in. Before you get the rest of the story, I'd love to share a quick message from today's sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Follow Up Boss, one of the leading CRMs, client relationship managers for residential real estate. Tons of top producing agents and some of the fastest growing teams out there are using Follow Up Boss to increase lead conversion, eliminate busy work that you're not doing anyway, and frankly, deliver a higher class experience in real estate to everybody who chooses you as their realtor of choice. So if you're going to keep listening to this, which I know you will, there's more information and a personal review of Follow Up Boss. For more information, go to followupboss.com/crazy. Hello, friends. I'm Leigh Brown, and welcome to Crazy Shit in Real Estate. Today, you get to meet one of my favorites. And I know I say that a lot, but she really is one of my favorites, Schneika Stokes, and she is from Mississippi. She is a massive entrepreneur. She's a realtor and a broker owner, and she has a real estate school, and she and her husband are investors. And she's got so many different angles for you to think about, whether you're in real estate or thinking about real estate, or you're just into this podcast for all the random people you get to meet. You're going to love her as much as I do. So stay tuned, enjoy the whole episode, and I'll see you on the other side. So how are you? I love the scarf. That's a nice look.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm doing well. Excited about this podcast.
I'm super excited because I want the whole world to know more about you and all of these business ventures that you're working on as you build your revenue streams, because Schneika's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll start chatting here for our audience. So tell them a little bit about Schneika. Where are you located? How long have you been in and around real estate? Give them the Cliff Notes version. They would find out if they met you for the first time.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm Schneika Stokes from Jackson, Mississippi. Now I live in the suburb of Jackson in Madison. And actually, real estate, I just got into real estate about 7 years ago, in 2015. I spent 14 years in public education. Between public education and private education, classroom teacher, administrator. I did some work with a few proprietary schools where I ran a few of their business programs. And then one day back in 2015, I just decided I wanted my time. I didn't want to be, relegated to a building anymore. I wanted my freedom, and I said, I'm going to try this real estate thing. I had no idea what I was getting into. Absolutely no idea. So I just jumped in 2015. I got my license and I jumped in head first. And I had a really good broker to introduce the world of real estate. And he was very smart about bringing in my husband in our meeting and asking him, are you going to support her? And I'm thinking, yeah, right. What is this? Is he going to support me? Because he knew what was ahead. And it was a tough year. And I tell everybody in my classes, new agents, my first year, I sold 3 houses. And that was it. And that was enough for me to turn around and run back into the classroom to something that I knew. But I was not going to let that defeat me. I felt like I could do it. I stayed with it. And here I am now, 2022, with my brokerage, with my real estate school. So it was just a hard work and determination, just sticking with it.
So I want to talk about that initial meeting with your husband for a second, because anybody that listens to that might say, well, this isn't 1950. You don't have to have your husband's support for things. And it's not that angle. It's that your broker poured into you, because this is so time consuming as a business. Yes. It's so stressful. And new agents, they don't know what they're getting into, as you know, because they get the license. It looks easy online. So how did he approach that with your husband, and how did that feel to you as a new licensee? Because I think this is something maybe more brokers should consider doing.
Yes, absolutely.
The holistic support piece.
Leigh, it really felt good after I initially met with the broker and we agreed that this is where I'll be. He agreed to take me on. He said, okay, our next meeting, I need to meet with your spouse. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I love a family environment. And brought him in, and he gave it to him. He gave him the real. Like, this is a tough business. She doesn't know a lot about it. And it may take her a while to start earning money. And he was just real. He was real about it. And my husband was like, okay. He really didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect. But getting that true information from my broker at that, he gave me so much respect for him. And I stayed there. I stayed in that spot with that broker until I went out on my own because I appreciated that so much. And the support was needed. Absolutely was needed. Like I said, I did throughout my first year because I was just trying to find my space. I'm a natural introvert. I would only talk in front of a classroom, in front of students, whether it was high school students or an adult classroom. That was my comfortable space. Outside of that, it was just me in my own little world. So I had a lot of breaking out to do. And my husband is a total extrovert. So I had to learn from him and just watch him and how he could work a room with people. And so I picked those skills up from him and just had to just break out my shell. I'm still an introvert. I guess I'm an extroverted introvert now.
Right, because we have to learn how to chameleon when we're introverts. But I think it's funny because at a real estate event, you're the one that's front and center and he is right there supporting you. But I didn't know that he was the work the room guy because Schneika comes first whenever you're together.
He is. I mean, he's my biggest support. He's been with me since day one. He will write little inspirational notes when I'm stressing about deals and just like, stick with it. You can do it. So I'll thank
Maybe he needs to do a training class for real estate spouses, and that could be your next revenue stream is what he brings to the table.
Leigh, I like that. I love it. And I know he'll love it. I can't wait to tell him. You may get a message from him.
I mean, all joking aside, there's probably a whole untapped blue ocean strategy there of what that would do to make realtors stronger, because a stronger realtor is also better able to serve the buyers and sellers that they interact with or serve the students in their real estate school. So that being said, that first year was hard. Why did you stick with it and not just give up?
Because I knew there was something greater for me. I have always had an entrepreneurial spirit without direction, though. I didn't have any direction. And so when I was at that point in 2015, when I was just so frustrated with where I was in my career, I just totally surrendered and just asked God to lead me to that place that I was supposed to be. And as hard as it was in real estate that first year, I knew that I was not supposed to move. I knew that I was to stay right there and continue to develop my system, stay disciplined to what I was doing. The people in the office, they were so wonderful in helping me. So I would tag along realtor open houses, sitting in trainings, just right there with them. And I knew I just felt like I knew I was in the right place. And it's all a knowing. When something is divine, you feel it on the inside. It may not look good or feel good in that spot there. You know you have to stay there and continue to work until they get to that place where I am now.
So basically you're saying that a caterpillar might think he should come on out of his cocoon, but until he's all the way ready as a butterfly, you got to stay put.
You got to stay put. You have to stay put.
So you had multiple mentors at the beginning of your real estate career, it sounds like. So many agents poured into you.
Yes.
I'm thinking out loud here because in the mentor space, we always talk about it like it's one-on-one. You get a little something from this one and somebody else knows this. And you really, it sounds like you experienced a whole tapestry of support. And is that something you've tried to replicate since you received it?
Oh, absolutely. And the support was unreal. I mean, that office, they took me in and I learned something from every single person. And we're still, even after I left and started my own, I still talk to those people. We are friends for life. I have a real estate mom who pushed me into volunteering. I got on board, now the president of our local board, and committees on the state level. I've been on the Housing Opportunity Committee on the national level for 4 years. And it was all because of that one person that was, well, not that one, but many that just kind of pushed me into that realm.
So how do you think that has made you a better realtor for the people you served, that you had that real estate mom and those other cohorts pouring into you, in addition to the fact that we got to point out that if you're a part of the public that listens to or watches this podcast, Anytime you encounter a good realtor, the good realtors all know there's lots of good realtors in a marketplace, and they'll never say they're the only one, because the relationships that you're talking about, Schneika, those are the ones that allow us to have better buyer and seller transactions for our clients, because we know the other realtor brings something to the table. But tell us a little more about how you think those mentors have made you a better realtor.
Well, I think, first of all, it's internal. I have the confidence.
It gave me the confidence, for one, because being involved, of course, you learn so much about the real estate industry. And I stress that to the agents in my office about getting involved, because you learn so many different aspects of real estate, and you're not just selling a house. You're not just helping a seller sell. You're not just helping a buyer buy in that particular transaction. You learn so much information that you can share, and you are actually a real estate professional and not just somebody going through a transaction. It just develops you.
Say that again for the people in the back. Is that what makes somebody a real estate professional, is understanding the total picture of the entire thing?
Absolutely. And actually, in my address, in my presidential installation earlier this year, I just charged everybody. Of course, we always say get involved. We always say get involved. But if volunteering is just not your thing, I also challenge, if you're not going to get involved, at least stay informed. Read articles, sign up, Inman, great articles about what's going on. Read your emails from your local board, from your state association, so you know what's going on. The legislative updates, those emails that come through, read them. They affect your business. You need to know. So I just stress that. Get involved, of course, but if that's just not your thing, stay informed so you can be a true real estate professional.
I think more of our volunteer leaders need to listen to this little snippet and adapt their messaging a little bit, because there is a definite cheat that says, get involved, period, end of discussion. But you're right. Some people don't have the bandwidth. Some don't have the inclination. Some that's not their skill, but that's no excuse for not being informed. So I love that. Get involved or get informed, and making sure it's one picture. And that should probably take off with all of our volunteer organizations, because what we're volunteering at impacts every neighbor in every zip code, which I think is part of the message that we've got to make sure we're putting out there, that the work realtors do is so personal to everybody we see at the grocery store and everybody that ever wanted to own a house ever.
Yes.
Whew, that's a mouthful, my friend. All right. So tell us about this real estate school. Obviously, you have a background as an educator. You've taken the leap to create the next generation of amazing real estate professionals. And so how did you come to that decision, and how is it going so far?
Well, education and teaching, facilitating, is just who I am. I tried to leave that arena when I left education, get into real estate, but you can't fight your calling. And that is my true calling. And I always say, it doesn't matter what field I'm in. I could leave here and go be an engineer or go into nursing. I'm always going to end up in front of a classroom or training and doing something like that. So it's just a part of who I am. And when I finally embrace that, hey, Schneika, you are a teacher. That's just what you do. It doesn't matter. Wherever you go, that's what you're going to do. When I embraced it and said, okay, that's right. Then my wheels started turning. I started teaching for our state association. Started teaching there, and then just praying about my next move. And I was just being pushed, and it was totally 100% a God thing, and just pushed me out and say, here's your academy, go do it. And like I said, I don't know if I said it before, but I always say the classroom is my happy place.
You didn't, but you said you can't fight your calling. It's what I was writing down over here, because sitting here, the Holy Ghost is sitting on me now because you said that. But the classroom is your happy place. Why wouldn't you live in there?
Exactly. It is 100% my happy place. And yeah, you can fight your calling, but that's going to be a miserable life. So no one wants to live a miserable life.
Actually, it's you can't fight your calling forever, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can't fight it.
God's going to win.
Yep. Exactly. So it was just the natural thing to do. In my office, I love training the new agents. And then in the classroom, that pre-license, that salesperson pre-license course, I just love it. just being there, giving those prospective real estate agents hope, giving them encouragement, and helping them figure out if this is really for them. I give them the real. I don't sugarcoat it. As many real estate agents and realtors as we have, it's just not for everybody. And I tell them all the time, we do a good job making this profession look so easy and making it look good. We can shine so well on social media, but let's talk about what it really takes. Let's talk about the day in the life of a realtor and what that really looks like. So I do have an opportunity in the middle of all the content. I do have an opportunity to slide those things in and just trying to help them figure out what they want to do. I share with them there's a lot to do in real estate. There's so much more to just buying and selling on the real estate side. And I just tell them, look at me, I'm in real estate education. I mean, who would have thought, right? So I just try to expose them to all of the different avenues that are available in real estate.
Okay, so I told y'all that I would do a review of Follow Up Boss, because I'm your friend in real estate, and I did. Now, there's a blue million CRM out there. I mean, if you go to any Facebook group, every realtor's like, which one should I use? Which one should I use? And you know that these CRM, which are client relationship managers or customer relationship manager, whatever you want to call it, it's truly a system that's just designed to help you know what to do next, because you're very busy and you're a multitasker in real estate. With all those different tasks and balls up in the air, you need something to help you stay on track. And that's what Follow Up Boss does. Now, when you save a name and a phone number in there, that is basically a Rolodex. Follow Up Boss is going to take the names and phone numbers and also help you know what to do next. So you can maintain these relationships with your neighbors, because that's what this is about. Real estate is not about serving just prospects and clients. It's about taking great care of your neighbors' needs in real estate. And if you'll use a tool like Follow Up Boss, where they remember you, they might even call you when they're ready to buy or sell again, or when their mom and daddy do, or their best friend or their kid, and you want to be top of mind, that's what a product like Follow Up Boss will do for you. Truly, it's going to change your business when you start paying better attention to people. They don't have to know you used Follow Up Boss, but they'll totally understand that they are being heard by you. So now there's a free trial for my people because you're loved. Go to followupboss.com/crazy. No credit card is required. And frankly, because you're my people and we made an ask for you, Follow Up Boss said, yes, you get double the free trial. That's actually enough time to log in, put some pieces in it, and watch it change your business as it has for so many realtors and teams nationwide. Again, go to followupboss.com/crazy to start your free trial today. Well, I'm so glad you're doing that, because as you know, nationally, we have a shortage of appraisers and a shortage of surveyors and a shortage of mortgage processors and all of these other jobs that aren't the two most visible, which would be your realtor and your loan officer. But all the other jobs are critical to it getting somewhere. And I mean, the avenues are endless. It's like, I didn't expect to wind up an educator. You thought you were leaving education, but we land where we're supposed to land. And then we get to do other things with it. But I'm curious as to how many of your students hear that pitch from you and look at something besides the traditional residential real estate route. Are you seeing them try different angles and finding their place?
Well, I've had a lot of students since we opened in June to come through that are already touching real estate in some way. Either they are buying their own investment properties or doing something in the land sector. They're already touching it in some type of way, and they just want to broaden their knowledge and get more information. And I guess just like one student said, help make his company legal because he was doing some.
Oh, yay.
He's involved in some real estate work and was like, hey, buddy, you need a license. You need a license. It's like, that's why I'm here. So thank you for helping make my company legal. It was funny, but.
Yeah, please don't tell me any more of the story. Just get your license and just
Exactly. But a lot of them do come with the mindset of just helping people buy and sell residential properties because that's all they know and that's all that they see. But when I talk about those other things and introduce those things, it piques their interest and they start taking notes. And yeah, I'm going to research that and look into that. So I like that part too.
I think there's a giant market here for those that run schools and for even the HGTV kind of people, if they would show some different pathways.
Yeah.
A lot of the people out there that are trying to figure out where they should land based on their calling, they just haven't seen the pathway yet. And especially considering student loan debt and all these people going to college, that maybe that's not where they should be going. If they knew that they could go do a surveyor role. I mean, we need surveyors so badly. And if you're good at math, but you want to be outside, Shazam, do that instead of going to college. You know? All right. So you've been in and around multiple angles of real estate, including investment, because we know we got to build that empire of finance. So, we have to tell a crazy story. It's the whole point of the podcast. Everybody wants to hear something, especially out of Mississippi. And for the record, people, don't y'all make fun of Mississippi, because they do things their own way there.
Yes, we do.
And I'm coming to see y'all at your state convention this fall. I'm so excited. Yay.
I'm excited. It was announced yesterday at our meeting.
That's when I started getting some texts, and I'm like, yes. And so it's going to have to be a really fun dinner and no rules, no time limits. So knowing all of that, what would you say is the story you tell to your students? Like, y'all think you know real estate? You would never believe this happened to me.
I've had so many crazy stories, but I tell these two, I have two the most, because they were at the beginning of my career, my very first listing. And I shared this with the agents in my office also. And it's not so much funny as it is, I don't know, I'll let you determine. So it was actually a grandmother of a former student that was looking to sell her property in the Northeast Jackson area. Now, this lady was from California. So her idea of home prices here is just way too low. She can get so much more in California. I'm sorry, ma'am, you're in Mississippi. So it was my first listing. Did I list it high? Absolutely. I just wanted a listing. I just wanted the sign in the yard with my name on it. We didn't get it sold. She was a really tough client. And I guess I needed that for my first listing, just to see it's just not all peaches and cream. It's not just all fun. Sellers have demands. They have things that they want, and we need to learn how to navigate. We need to be educated and share them. At that point, I wasn't educated enough. However, we didn't get it sold, and I think she got a little upset. I had multiple open houses. We just couldn't get it sold. And she called me one day and told me that she had decided to, it was at the end of the listing agreement, she decided to go with another company and that I could come and get my sign. I pull up,
It hurts.
It does. And this was the very first listing. I pull up to get my sign, and she had pulled my sign out the ground, laid it down. So it was down, and she had the other sign already up in her yard. So when I pull up, I just see my nice little pretty sign in the grass. Yeah. But the hurting part, I think she got joy out of me seeing my sign on the ground. Yeah. It's like, oh, geez, my first listing, and this is how it is. And I have a picture of it at that moment when I saw that. I took a picture. I just shared it with the agents in my office in our meeting. It's like, this is what happened. My very first listing. These are the kind of things that you're going to encounter.
I'm glad you brought that up, because it doesn't sound like a big earth-shattering story, but it's the real life in real estate where you don't really know what you're doing on the first listing. Nobody does. You have to learn it by hook or by crook, but it doesn't always work out. And it physically, emotionally hurts. Like your stomach hurts and you want to cry and you want to feel sorry for yourself. And it doesn't matter if you made all the mistakes. It just hurts. And the other agent, like, they had nothing to do with this. And you still see their sign and you're like,
exactly.
It's just,
it hurt.
And if you're listening to this and you're thinking about getting into real estate, just know that it's going to happen to you. And any realtor who tells you they've never lost a listing is either lying or they've never had a listing. And if they tell you they've never been hurt, they're either lying or they have a heart that's made out of coal.
Yeah, they don't work. If they tell you they've never been hurt in real estate, they don't work. They don't do real estate. They just have a license. So that was really tough. Like I said, my first listing, it did hurt. It did hurt. But I took a picture of it because I knew that was not going to stop me. and that I was going to use that one day to share with somebody about my journey. And I was able to pull that picture and use it in our meeting about 2 weeks ago.
So it'll be in every slide deck of every presentation.
Everyone. Everyone. Exactly. And listen, this second story, this was actually the second listing. Mind you, this is my introduction to real estate. Second listing, going through the transaction, the buyer passed away.
Oh, you were under contract?
We were under contract. And I get a call one day that the buyer passed away. Leigh, are you laughing?
I mean, I'm laughing and I'm crying too, because I've not experienced this. I mean, I've talked about death in real estate, not a challenge, but
yes.
What did you do? How did you respond? What was the phone call the other side? What did the other agents say? They were probably
well, I was just praying that wasn't an omen for my real estate business. What is going on? And then to make it worse, when I called the seller to share with them what happened, the seller was like, no, that lender, because the lender called me and told me that lender is lying. I know that lender and we've had problems years before. He does not like us. I need to see an obituary. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. This is listing number 2.
I need to see an obituary. Hashtag yes. Words you don't expect anybody to ever say to you.
Exactly. And this is all of about 2 months in.
So were they really dead? Like, had the death actually happened?
Absolutely. She passed away. Yes. Oh, yes.
So what happened? Did you just put it back on the market? Did they
put it back on the market and kept rolling?
Okay.
Just put it back on the market and just kept it moving. I took it to my broker and made sure he understood what was going on. But yeah, I didn't know at that point, should I stay in this or should I run?
I mean, you were just going through your challenges early on so that you could be more successful later. Full disclosure, realtors, if this ever happens to you, do what she just said and ask your broker for advice. And we are not legal or state commission advice here. Call your real estate commission legal hotline.
Absolutely. Those are my stories. Not so crazy, but...
Yeah, but there is a crazy reality to real estate that the public doesn't understand because agents like to make it look perfect on their social media. And then HGTV makes it look boring and too easy. And the reality of real estate, it's super messy. And it's bizarre to me because it's the most money people spend in their lifetime. And it's insanely emotional money, which is kind of crazy because, we buy a car and sell a car. We don't even think about it, but houses, it's so big.
Yes.
So I think our episode could probably last for an hour if we kept talking, but my audience likes my short episodes, but fine. I know they all want to make friends with you now. And so how do they reach out to the one and only Schneika Stokes and find out more about your volunteer journey, your real estate school, how you've got buyers and sellers in your company and agents? How do they find all those sides of you?
I am on Facebook, Schneika Stokes, Schneika N Stokes, SCHNEIKA N Stokes. The Academy online, theacademy.realestate. Yes, www.theacademy.realestate.
That's a great domain.
Yeah, I was excited about that. And on Facebook as well, same thing. The Academy of Real Estate and Business Development, long name. We do a lot, so the name had to be a lot.
So you're building that independent wealth pattern, which is 10 streams of revenue. So obviously you've got to have an umbrella for all of that that's going to come and bless the Stokes family.
Absolutely. And Premier Living Realty on Facebook, Premier Living Realty.
So there you go, friends. And if you didn't write any of that down and now you're wondering if there's a Schneika Stokes, it's not Schneika N Stokes, don't worry, because we have all of her contact links and information in the show notes for this episode. So all you got to do is click on the link and go find her and connect with her. And in the comments, now is when you should leave a thumbs up or a thank you to her for coming on the show. And thank you for serving other realtors as a volunteer leader, because you obviously have a lot of demands on your time, and to do the additional work of volunteering is incredibly appreciated because we need people like you to do these kinds of roles to make real estate better. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Leigh. This has been a pleasure. A lot of fun.
Well, I'm honored to have you on the show and honored to know you in leadership world and excited that we get to hang out together for a couple more decades before we both go to our island and sit on the beach and talk about things.
Yes, I'll be there.
All right, friends, make sure you give Schneika some love in the comments. Go visit her website, send her some business in the Jackson and extra areas of Mississippi. Give us 5 stars over here and subscribe for more. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Okay, now don't forget to go try Follow Up Boss so that your business can continue to expand in professionalism, and then you can meet some more crazy people yourself. I really appreciate Follow Up Boss sponsoring this episode, but mainly I appreciate them for giving y'all double the free trial time with no credit card required. So make sure you go to followupboss.com/crazy and then let me know what you think. I'll see you guys next time.
As always, I'm so super thrilled that you joined in for more crazy shit. And if you're a realtor, investor, inspector, lender, or just a regular human being who happens to have an unbelievable story that you need to tell the world about, or frankly, you just need to one-up the story you just heard, then make sure to DM me on Instagram at Leigh Thomas Brown, or tweet me at Leigh Brown, or frankly, any social network where you hang out. I'm there. And if you had some fun, then you totally want to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.